recording.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for joining me for week number 5, Lose It Fast, Lose It Forever. Again, right from the top, I want you to make sure that you are typing in any chat questions, any thoughts that you've got from last week's session on exercise, for our week's session on nutrition and master your mind and all that. And again, as I mentioned in the videos which are up, as I mentioned in the video, I made a slight change. And the slight change came out of a couple of emails that I've received and some offline interactions, and I'm going to talk more about that today. But this week, our weekly focus was on chapter number 6, modification, not starvation. Now, these two, chapter 5 and 6, where you deal with your personal fuel goal, and chapter number 6, where you deal with modification, not starvation, these things really go hand in hand. And they go hand in hand to create a way of eating that will last you for the rest of your life. Again, not a diet, not something that you're going to just do temporarily, but for a way of eating that will last you the rest of your life. And so, of course, your work, the things that you have to do is you have to go through chapter number 6, read through chapter number 6. Then you've got to do, listen to the video that I put up, and then do the work, And so a couple of key points, again, that I've already mentioned, just go over them quickly. We have a daily and weekly budget of calories. Think about having a caloric check. So you've got a budget of calories that you need to use. And the secret is, the key is to squeeze as much food as possible into that caloric budget, all right, into that. And you think of your food, your calories, as a caloric checkbook. How many calories, or really the way I think of it, how much food can I squeeze into this budget, or how much food can I eat within this budget? All right, really important to think of that way. Not trying to restrict the amount of food, but rather what I'm trying to do is restrict the types of food that you eat so that you can still have a lot of food without going hungry. One of the things, and I'll just mention this out there, and Jackie, you can help me by adding this to notes as a reference. One of the things that will help you to do this is by reading a book called The Volumetrics by Barbara Rolls, R-O-L-L-S. I discovered this method, and I'm working through it, and I'm practicing it. And during the process of time that I'm doing, I'm reading everything that I can get my hands on. And what do you know? There's a woman who's done research on this, and the research on it is it's really amazing. And so there are scientific reasoning or scientific proof behind what I'm teaching. All right, and so it's not like I ripped it off, but just the way that I teach it, it worked for me. I'm like, this is just amazing. This, the way that I've learned this stuff, it works. Having a fluid, a filler, a feast at every single meal. My fluid being my water, my feast being a broth-based soup or some salad, and vegetables, and then my feast being the thing that I actually want and live for. This just works. Wow. Well, there's research behind it that proves it. Now, again, the concept of caloric checkbook, modification, not starvation. I want you to understand that because our goal is to lose it, not just fast, but forever. We do not want to be on a diet. You have to be on a method of eating that lasts you forever. And again, I'm still over into the key points here. So you have to modify your favorite. How do you do that? Well, you go through by making really intelligent substitutions to the food that you eat. Intelligent substitutions for breakfast, intelligent substitutions for lunch, and intelligent substitutions for dinner. Now, this is one of the things I've got to tell you, and it just came up. Literally, someone just posted in the exercise group, Slim U, about their day. And I have to tell you this, you must remember, one bad meal does not equal a bad day. A bad lunch does not equal a bad dinner. A bad day does not equal a bad weekend, and a bad weekend does not equal a bad week. All right? You can recover immediately once you discover this principle of modification, not starvation. Not just discover it, once you begin to practice it. All right, the next thing, of course, these are some of the challenges. I want you to create a caloric checkbook. Use an index card. Use the actual, the forms up there that we have. Start to write down exactly what you're eating, and then start to write some modifications, and start to write down the number of calories you've got left in the day. That's really going to help you. Again, as I mentioned, I look at it as a caloric checkbook, and then the next thing I want you to do is search out modifications to major food items. And so figure out how you're going to make this work. And really, once I discovered this, the world opened up, because I would go to the grocery store, and I'd start to go through the grocery store and compare this item to that item to the other item. I compare all these different items. I just had a ball. I try a bunch of different stuff. Some of it was absolutely nasty. Some stuff was great. Give you an example. I'm not a fan of fat-free mayonnaise. I really believe that certain things require fat. Mayonnaise is one of them. All right, it's just a fact. It's just a fact. Certain things require sugar. sugar, although with some sugar substitute, it's a lot easier, to have foods especially without real sugar. But I discovered this brand. I won't even say the brand. It was no sugar, no salt, no fat. There was no sugar, no fat, no salt, no preservatives. It was just like, wow, it had nothing, including flavor. It had absolutely nothing, but I tried it, tried the different things that they had. I tried the dressings and the ketchup, absolutely nasty. I will not mention the brand, but certain things you're going to have some of the fat sugars in there. But what I want you to do is write down different things, modified major items, and the food in its modified state. Look at the calories that you save. Again, I give you an example of a bacon slice versus a turkey bacon slice. That's really going to allow you to be successful. Here's the key in each and every environment. Now, the other thing is, I want you to trumpet your forever habit, or your as we call it, the forever few pounds that you've lost. Make sure you shout out to me on Facebook, on Twitter, on the forum. Just put pound LIF2 and Twitter, Facebook, any of those places, and I'll be sure to really favorite the comment or comment back. You can always email to LIF2 support at LIF2support@PeteThomas.com. Then the other thing, really important, start cleaning out the cupboards. Certain foods you should know you cannot have in the house. All right, and what I mean by you can't have in the house is you can't have it in the house. It's really that scientific and deep. Because if it's in the house, you're going to overeat. So certain things you just need to eliminate it out of the house, get it out of the house, to make sure that it is not there, because there's really no way to modify it. And it's probably a trigger food. A trigger food is one of those foods that you can't help but start to eating. All right. Then, of course, we've got the ongoing challenges. Take time for yourself every day by journaling. Make sure that you're journaling, writing down the food that you eat, that you're working now, reviewing your top 10 list. We'll come back next week to deal with power goals. As I mentioned, I really wanted to cover this food today because of the things that I'm about to talk to you today. Now, our focus of this chat is really going to be three areas: mind, mouth, and muscle. As I told you, we're going to have that chat focus each and every week. When it comes to your mind, I had one of you all who could chime in and send me an email, and it was very important. I practiced it, and I'm glad she mentioned it so that I don't overlook it. It is very important for you to encourage yourself regularly, positively, on a regular basis. As I mentioned, someone commented even about the food today in my exercise group, and they said that they had a bad day. And so I went through the process of really how they should look at that bad day. Number one, write down why you had a bad day eating. Why did you binge? Number two, once you wrote down why you binge, and what I mean by why, I mean, what are the issues surrounding the day? What was the stress, the strain, the struggle? What went on during the day that caused you to binge? Number two, write down what change you're going to make next time when you binge the next time. And then number three, applaud yourself for improving. Really, you need to applaud yourself for making the little improvement of writing down why you binged and what you're going to do next time. Give yourself an additional high five. And so I really believe there's a scripture where David talks about encouraging himself in the Lord. I really believe that you have to constantly, regularly encourage yourself. You know, in the world of performance, there's something called a criticism sandwich. And a criticism sandwich goes like this. I start off and I compliment you on the things that you've done well. And then in there, I tell you the things that you need to improve, and then I end with the things that you need to, the other things that you've done well. So it's a sandwich, things you've done good, things you need to improve, things you've done well. So it's that criticism sandwich that I want you to practice as often as possible, all right, as often as possible on a regular basis. If you have a bad day, if you didn't exercise, I at least want you to say, well, I set my clothes out to exercise, all right? I want you to constantly be encouraging yourself. Now, when we talk about teammates, you're going to need a teammate to really push and challenge you and say, hey, get it, do it. You know what I mean? Let's get it done. But at the same time, I don't want you to beat yourself up continually. So take a regular assessment, regularly assess where you are. Compliment yourself on what you're doing well, on what you're doing right, all right? That really is the way that I practice mastering my mind. Now, when it comes to managing your mouth, I already talked a little bit about it. Here's the thing that I want you to understand. We're leading up into how to properly plan out your meal. I call it a perfect, personalized, forever meal plan. Meal planning, especially for many of us, for people like me, meal planning is the absolute only way that we're going to keep the weight off forever. I mean, I wish I could tell you that there's some simplistic trick to it, but it's not. And let me tell you this. I had a young lady, she came up to me after church service, and we're in the cafe there at church, and I'm getting my little coffee, little drink thing about whatever it was, and she comes up to me, Pete, I just need some advice. She said, you know, I had surgery, and I've got some more weight to lose, and I've just been off track. It's not been going the right way that I wanted. You know, what can I do? Now, mind you, I told her a long time ago that she needed to get my book because everything I knew was in the book. But then I said, you know, first of all, you need to write down your goals. Again, what I told you about, I'm going to come back to. I said the second thing is you need to write out a meal plan. You cannot go around guessing at your food. Just because you had surgery and physically your stomach cannot take extra food doesn't mean mentally you can't find a way to get extra food in there. You can simply overeat through liquids. You know what I mean? You can start having chocolate shakes or melted ice cream or crazy stuff like that. Or someone I knew, literally, honestly, personally knew, they would blend up Big Mac meals in a blender and drink the food. And so there are ways for you to overcome, you know, the gastric bypass surgery. And so what I had to tell her to do was this. You must plan out your meals for an entire week. Now, an entire week's worth of meal planning should allow you to have plenty of variety. If you need to, then I need you to plan out 2 weeks' worth of meals. But whatever you do, make sure that you plan it out. You have got to plan it out on a regular basis. That's the only way you're going to be successful. And the reason being is some of us, we've got this food addiction thing. The only way around that food addiction is by making sure that we have options in front of us. Because left to our own devices, we will immediately always go back to the bad food choices. And so you have to make a meal plan. You have to make a food plan that works for you. And again, that's the key. That works for you. You can do it. But here's the key. I mean, not the key, but here's the thing. For some of us, not all of us, but for some of us, this is going to stick with us for the rest of our life. Anytime you're off track, you're going to pull out the meal plan. You're going to pull out your personalized meal plan, what you're eating for the entire week. Whenever the scale bounces the wrong way for me, I go back to the basics. And I look at my shopping list, what's on my shopping list. I compare it to what's in the fridge and what's in the cupboard. Like, no, I've let this come back into my house. I've let that come back into my house. I've got to get those things back out of the house. There's a saying. I got it from the O.J. Simpson trial. If it's not on the list, it can't exist. All right, if it's not on the list, it can't exist. And that means it can't exist in my house. Pringles, they can't be in my house. Regular mayonnaise can't be in my house. Regular peanut butter can't be in my house. And I'm sorry if you think that you're going to be normal, all right? And this isn't for everybody. This is for some of us. I'm sorry if you think that you're going to be normal and you're going to be able to eat whatever it is you want to eat. But for some of us, that's not the case. But here's the other side to that coin. The other side of that coin is you can be very happy. You can be very successful. You can enjoy your life with just a little bit of planning, all right? And so this kind of thing, it even applies in other areas of life. Can you do whatever you want when it comes to your education if you want to have a good job? No, you need to plan out your education. You need to pursue a particular path or field that you want to go into, and you're more likely to be successful and be comfortable. If you just do whatever old thing, you're probably going to end up working at jobs that just don't pay you very well, and that's going to affect your income, and it's going to affect where you live, all that kind of stuff. So I want you to understand. It's so very important that you plan out. Make sure you plan out what you have and what you eat on a regular basis. And again, this is when I wrote this down, I want to drive this home. Meal planning is the only way for some of us to manage our mouth for life. Now, some of you will be able to adjust in a couple of years. You've got the weight off. You're starting to adjust. You'll be able to eat in any environment. But for people like me, like Big Sexy here, I've got to do some meal planning, some type of meal planning for the rest of my life. That's just the way it is. All right, now, the other thing I want to throw out, I'm going to mention this again, and we're going to talk about mention the mind. I mentioned in the mind, I talked about constantly encouraging yourself. When in the mouth, I talked about making sure you do the meal planning. That's why I came back to this topic, to make sure I got you on modification, not starvation, because that teaches you how to squeeze in food into your daily fuel goal. All right, then the next thing is muscle. So this was last Thursday. Last Thursday, I go for a 1-hour jog. And then I had my boot camp. And that night at boot camp, I actually was rather active in the boot camp. So I say in the 2-hour boot camp, oh, my screen went dead. Hold on. I want this. So in my 2-hour boot camp, I was probably active for 45 minutes to an hour, really active. And then after that, I had a friend who was dating a guy. I introduced the two of them. For some reason, they broke up. She was feeling all sad, so I go to Planet Fitness to the gym to hop on a treadmill next to her to encourage her. So that's, 2.5 hours worth of working out. And I haven't done 2.5 hours in 6, 7 years. And so I thought to myself, I'm tired. I'm really tired at the end of the night. I'm really exhausted. An hour and 15, maybe an hour and a half if I'm really trying to do something, and trying to, really get in shape or participate in some marathon or something. But I asked myself once I got home, how was it that I was able to work out that long on the biggest of the ranch, 2.5 hours every day at home after I got pulled off the ranch? How was I able to work out that long? 2.5 hours every day at home by myself. Here was the key. 1 hour a day, I did it all by myself. I do my hour on elliptical or hour run, whatever it is. The second hour a day was typically in a group class, whether it be spin class, whether it be going and taking a running class, whether it be the kickboxing class with the guy that had the short step, which is way too tight, instructing us. Whatever it was, that second workout, typically that second workout was in a group. All right, and so we're going to come back and talk about teams, but I just want you to know that if you're trying to do, and we had the question last week, how do you do it when you're bored? You have music, but a group class is so very important. And it just brought it back to my remembrance how I was able to get through those long day after day after day after day. You have to have some people around you. You can only do it by yourself for so long, even with some great music. All right, next week's session and your pre-work, we've already put that up. Make sure you read the chapters on teammates and goal settings. We will get back to that. Then final announcement, I've got some great feedback from you all. You want the videos up early. So we're going to get those up by Saturday at noon so that you can then go ahead and listen to the videos, do any research that you need to on them over the weekend. Also, we made some changes to GoToWebinar. You should have received the entire 8 weeks worth of links so that you can add that to your calendars. You'll probably also get the reminders on a regular basis that pop up, but we sent out all of the links so you don't have to look around for them that day. Again, make sure that you trumpet your, what we call the forever few. You have forever few that are gone, the few pounds that are gone forever. Bye-bye, those few 3 or 4 or 5 pounds each and every week or 2 weeks. Make sure that you tell me about that. Email me at LIF2 support. Put it on Twitter, Facebook with hashtag #LIF2. Let me know how you're doing. All right. Then the next thing is, of course, you can always submit your questions via Facebook and Twitter. Now, from there, it's up to you. I'm going to dive over here. I'm going to take a look. We're going to answer any questions that you have. And hope that you got something out of the chat. Again, mind, mouth, muscle. When it comes to your mind, make sure that you encourage yourself on a regular basis. When it comes to your mouth, I want you to make sure that you are putting menu and meal planning into your life as a regular part of your life. Has to be there. And then the last one is muscle. Make sure if you're working out for more than 1 hour a day, when it gets boring, you've got to incorporate some group classes of some type in there just to put down the boredom. All right, let's take a look and see what we got for questions. I've got a question by, I like that. If it's not a list, let's see. All right, I've got a question there from Ann. Is there a stair stepper that you would recommend? Is there a stair stepper that I would recommend, one over the other? And I'm wondering if you're talking home use or you're talking in the gym. In the gym, absolutely. In the gym, it's called the Stairmaster, if I'm not mistaken. It's a huge machine. Looks like a set of stairs that just one stair comes out after another after another. That's what I call the devil's machine. The absolute worst machine in the gym. Let me see if I can't pull it up here on my tablet to give you the exact name. But it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's by Stairmaster. There's a couple of different types, and I don't particularly like the kind where the feet just go like back and forth. I like the big one. All right, let's see. I can't turn this around. Stairmaster, S-T-A-R. I want to make sure that I give you the right name. Stairmaster, yeah. Manufacturer Stairmaster Step Mill. So it's the Stairmaster Step Mill. And you can Google that, look that up. They've got different model numbers. Oh, yeah, it looks like Stairmaster.com. And so you can go there and check that out. Now, here's something even better. Yes, Stairmaster step mill. Here's the even better thing. How do you work out on that piece of machinery? I work out on there, and I've got this event in March that I have to do a fight for air climb, where we're going to be going down to the Renaissance Center, and we're going to be going up 70 flights. We're sprinting up 70 flights of stairs. So here's the thing. Here's what you want to do. Get on that Stairmaster and use what's called speed intervals. So speed intervals, they'll go high, really hard for a period of time, really low for a period of time. Really hard for a period of time, really low for a period of time. So hard work, recovery, hard work, recovery. Interval, recovery, interval, recovery. Use the interval or speed interval option or setting on the Stairmaster. You have to get used to it so that you can set it to where you're doing hard work and easier work, but get to working on that. Now, the other thing is, when I do it, I set it for 20 minutes. 20 minutes allows the intervals to be shorter, so there are more of them. But at times, you know, when you get on there, if you punch it in for 40 minutes, the intervals are longer. So 4 minutes of really hard work, it sucks. You know what I mean? It really sucks. So I set it for a shorter period of time, then I'll go back in and put 20 minutes in twice to get my 40-minute workout. But use that interval workout on the Stairmaster step mill. I call it the devil's machine. It's the worst machine in the gym, but it really is the best machine in the gym. So try that out. I tell you, I have to love it. I'm looking at the images here now, you know, with the love and hate glare, you know, so Stairmaster step mill. Valerie asked, okay, do I recommend using weights when I work out? Now, here's the key. Good question. Here's the key. When we talk about multiplying your muscles, there are a couple of different sections. We talked last week about the benefits of muscle. Then I'm going to get into next time, talk about cardio training. But then after that, we're going to talk about building real muscle with resistance training. So absolutely. And that's in Chapter 12. And, of course, the workouts in there involve muscle. Let me just tell you quickly a couple things. You must work out with weight. I do not recommend particularly ankle weight, because if you're going to be jumping around, there's a certain amount of weight that your body carries, so I'm not a fan of ankle weight. However, there's nothing wrong with wrist weights. If you're on a treadmill or you're something and you got extra wrist weights on, that's good. You can pick up dumbbells. You can carry those while walking. Any of those things are great. The best thing you can do is to start getting into the circuits that I teach. There are different types of weights, all right? So there's body weight. When you can control your own body, that's the greatest thing ever, all right? So body weights meaning I do push-ups to work the chest. I do squats to work the hamstrings. I do lunges to work, squats to work the quadriceps, and lunges to do the hamstrings. All right, so those different body parts can be worked just by using your body weight. That's what we do in my boot camp. And then the next step up there, you can use bands and balls and those types of things. But the next thing I would move to is to use dumbbells. All right, so use dumbbells. And dumbbells, shoulder presses with dumbbells is great. However, you've got to get accustomed to doing it in that circuit format that I talk about in the book. Using that circuit format is going to be the key to making sure that you constantly are working those muscles. And let me mention this. The reason why you absolutely must, there are a couple of reasons, but the reasons why, but you absolutely must use resistance training. For one, muscles really allow you to burn more calories after the workout is over. As you begin to build muscle, and I'll talk more about it in a few weeks, as you begin to build muscle, the body has to recuperate from the muscles that you've stressed or worked out. All right, and so when it's recuperating, is when extra calories or extra fuel, extra energy is used to build that muscle up, to cause that muscle to recuperate. So you absolutely want to use resistance training. You just have to do it in a fashion that keeps the heart rate up. That's why I talk about circuit training, metabolic resistance training. But you do not want to allow your heart rate to drop while you're doing your weight training. You want to keep it up high. You want to keep it elevated. The only way to do that, use metabolic training, use circuit resistance training, have cardio intervals in there. So you do push-ups, to jump and jacks, to squats, to butt kicks, those types of things that we talk about in the book. All right, hope that answered your question. If not, put another question in there, but also check out in the book. All right, let's see. All right, concerning meal planning, while I am getting the menu together, you think it's okay to use things like healthy, pre-done, organic dinners. They are all 300 calorie range, so can do a salad and one of them in a pinch. Is there a downside? No. And let me mention this. Now, whenever you do, and you're mentioning healthier brands, whenever you do pre-prepared meals like something, a frozen dinner or anything, the one downside that I know about it is that, well, there are two downsides. One downside is going to have a little bit more sodium in it, and that's as a preservative. That doesn't really, is not the worst thing to me, because we're getting our calories in line, we're bringing our calories down. It's prepared, it's quick, and it's easy. That's not a bad thing to me. We're understanding and we're bringing the calories down and getting them in line. However, make sure at every meal you have the fluid filler feast. You have those three things in every meal so that you can continue to learn what it is you're eating, and you can get full. A lot of times those 300-calorie meals won't fill you up. Now here's the only bigger downside to it is you don't learn a lot. You just get the food and you eat the food, and I want you to learn. And so as you're going through this process, I want you to make sure that you're thinking about what's in the food that you're eating and how you can prepare it yourself, and how you can even the thing is, if you begin to prepare it, you're going to even have even more. So the only downside is a little sodium. The second downside is I've seen people get, how do I say it, kind of married to those things. And so you get married and so used to them that you really don't practice creating your own meal plan. All right? And to be honest, that's not a big deal either. I mean, literally, I'm a horrible cook. So I've got some classes this year, some online classes where taught by the Chef Network or whatever it is, and I go through and I'm going to watch these videos so that I can learn how to cook better this year. My cooking involves like salt, pepper, two or three different spices, and a cast iron skillet. I cook everything in it. How do you cook everything in it? I'm not a good cook. And so I don't see anything wrong with those prepared meals from that standpoint. And it's I think it's a very good start. Just be aware of the sodium, and then be aware that there's another level that we want to grow to, that we want to develop to. All right, we want to go to where, okay, I am preparing my own meals, and I'm freezing them and putting them away myself so that I can pull them out throughout the week and have it myself. Hope that answers the question. I have no problem with it. Really, no problem with it. All right, let's see. Thanks. Just trying to do something while I'm setting it up versus eating 3 times the calories in the budget. Good, smart stuff to do. Enter a plan while I'm getting used to. Excellent. I think that's so I would say that go to different distance. I would really say that mindset is almost the perfect mindset to have while I'm developing and taking, because to write out your meal plan is going to take some time. So while I'm writing this out, I know I'm going to be hungry in the meantime. I'm just going to eat these prepared meals that are already prepared for me. And so let's see. You're in San Fran, and you've got a couple different places, well, even your normal places. I don't know if Ralph's is in San Fran. I'm imagining. I don't know if they're nearby you. But for instance, one of the things that I do, and I have this mindset of, I'm not going to eat fast food. I'm going to eat food fast. What does that mean? I'm going to get my food fast. That means I go to, when I'm in California, I go to a place like Ralph's. Ralph's has a hot bar, and they have baked chicken, fried chicken. So I get the baked chicken, and then they've got the side. So I'm going to get a salad over here. There's a salad that's already prepared, and they'll have like a Greek salad in here. They'll have green beans, and so I get my fluid filler feast from a Ralph's that has hot food prepared. And then I forgot, different kind of grocery stores have even more elaborate hot bars there in California than they do in Michigan. But I practice this wherever I'm at. The other option, and they do not have that here, in California. I was at a Whole Foods in California. They prepared the sandwiches there on the spot, fresh for you, and all these different things. They do not have that here in Michigan at the Whole Foods in Michigan. So you can practice that same thing. And so the guy was a little thrown off. I had some special, like, Jake's Turkey Club sandwich, and I said instead of the mayo, put mustard on there. I'll take everything else you got on there except wrap it in lettuce instead of in a bun. He was like, oh, I didn't know how to do that. I could take that big old piece of butter lettuce, wrap it around there like it's a piece of bread, all right? And so the point of what I'm saying is, as you're learning this, think about even when you're out. How am I going to eat this way when I'm out, when I go shopping? What kind of foods can I get that will fit into this? If I get a couple of pieces of chicken, rotisserie chicken or whatever, and I can put it in the fridge for a couple of days, any of those kinds of things, they're excellent while you're planning out that entire. Good idea. Good plan. All right, let's see. Valerie said, got to go to distance. Got to put a bit. Good. Whole Foods. Well, you know, yeah, Whole Foods. Here in Michigan, I'm on the same way. At Whole Foods, we call it a whole check, you know, because you're going to spend your whole check there. And Baja Fresh, I'm going to have to try that. Every time I've gone to California, I've driven by it, so I'll have to try it next time. All right, so but the main point is you've got options there. I'll even do some, one of my favorites is Carl Jr.'s. So I have the $6 low-carb turkey burger from Carl Jr., because we don't have that here. All right, so if that's it, we're looking for more questions. If that's it, I want to thank you all for joining me this week. Remember, Wednesday, I'm going to see if I got to look at my schedule. I think my client has me booked well into the evening, so I won't be able to do my web chat on Wednesday, so we'll use this recording on Wednesday. But thank you so much for being here. Look for the new videos up before the weekend. Look for the new videos up before the weekend. Thank you so much for joining on this chat. And remember, there's a winner within you.